Welcome to Crotoni Entertainment. I'm Chris.
I'm Bree.
And this is a bonus episode of our Tips and Tech series because we had some technical difficulties and lost an entire episode of Bree Plays Final Fantasy I Pixel Remaster. Fortunately, not much happened in that episode. Bree just got her class change upgrade and explored a couple towns on the map, but didn't actually do any dungeons or anything.
Yeah.
So fortunately, it wasn't that bad for us. But we wanted to go ahead and do an episode involving our Age of the Grid series. And part of that Age of the Grid series involves creating armies.
Yep.
So we talked about this before when we first played Age of the Grid together.
Yes.
We used pre-existing rules from the one-page rule system for Age of Fantasy.
Yeah, we just kind of matched them up to already existing model builds.
Mm-hmm. And I think we were both pretty unhappy with how we were able to match up the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because there's some things I liked and some things I didn't. And we looked at it and we said, okay, maybe some of the bad guys would match better to like the vampiric undead.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was really no good option for Mastodon sentries and things like that. So we joined the Patreon and it gave us access to the points calculator. Which we're going to tinker with a little bit here today. I'm not actually going to go through the points calculations. This is kind of a more concept video talking about how we're kind of designing the different armies, because I don't want to give away one-page rules kind of proprietary information, only because A, I'm sure there's some legality reason attached to it, and two, I mean, it's a $10 a month Patreon. If you want to get in that and have the points calculator,
give them your money.
You'll have it. Just give them their $10 a month. If you don't want it, we will go ahead and release our army lists when they're 100% complete. So the list we're working on the Rangers and the bad guys, and we're kind of working on them in two fronts here. We want them to obviously play against each other.
Yep.
But we also want the ability to play them against other Age of Fantasy armies if we so chose. Because,
who wouldn't want to fight vampires with their Power Rangers?
So this is kind of a concept episode. There's a lot of actual consideration that has to go into designing a unit for the game. Even though there is a points calculator, will tell us how many points it is, and theoretically that makes it fair. There are certain aspects to it that really don't. For example, in the Ranger list, we went ahead and gave a model the ability to give the regeneration special rule to the unit they join, which basically gives them another opportunity to shrug off damage that they take. And we found... because in the points calculator, all the special rules in the game are there, and they have points values attached to them, so you can tag them onto your custom stuff. We found two different rules that have two different points costs that do that same ability. One of them is 145 points, one of them is 90 points, but they do the same thing.
Yep.
One of them is also from an army of predominantly 3 damage models. And one of them is from an army predominantly of 1 wound models. So we thought, okay, we really should design this so you're paying the more expensive amount, because clearly that's what's intended for these stronger miniatures to have this.
Right.
So there's some game design thoughts that have to go into it. But for the most part, we're just taking a model, we're slapping it together, and we're saying, what do we think best represents a Power Rangers character from this?
And we have kind of taken into consideration some of their abilities on their cards and stuff like that, and tried to find stuff that was at least a good translation for the abilities. Jason's leadership,
the Dragon Shield,
Dragon Dagger.
Well, we give kind of the Dragon Dagger and the Dragon Shield a combined profile.
Right. We
give him an ability called Combat Stance, which so we gave Tommy as his basic defense fire. Anybody wearing the Dragon Shield, because Jason can have it as well.
We got almost anybody has the ability to take it.
No, we just give it to Tommy and Jason for right
now.
We may explore that later. But we basically give them the Combat Stance rule, which basically says at the start of a combat, the wearer of the Dragon Shield has to decide whether to get +1 to their defense, because the shield is being used defensively, a la when Jason and Tommy were dueling at the end of Green with Evil, and the Dragon Shield was deflecting the Blade Blaster shots.
Right.
Or if it gives them +1 AP, which is armor penetration to an attack.
Which is like them using the Dragon Dagger.
Well, I was thinking more like, the Dragon Dagger has stats too, but I mean, it has, this will buff its ability to pierce armor.
Right.
I was thinking more like, what was that strange floating, like, organic computer that Jason powered up with the Dragon Shield, and like the Power Sword and the Dragon Dagger turned all like bright colors and
kind
of like that. But that's what we did with the Rangers. We sat there and we said, what befits this model? And I spent way too long on each entry, and I'm still not 100% done with the list yet. But I'm thinking we take a different path for the villains here, and it's a path we're going to share just a couple of villain creations with you guys, and that'll be tonight's whole video. The path I'm thinking we're taking tonight is saying, what would we like to see, and then I will find the ability. That kind of comes closest.
What are you talking about?
So what I was doing before is I was saying, what is this character capable of doing? Let me dig through every single ability and see which one sounds like that character. This time I'm going to say, what would we like to see? And then I can go find it later or find something close to it. And that'll let us put more units down at one time. And then I can calculate all the details together. Does that make any sense?
Sure.
Well, here, let's let it make sense. Let's do a couple units tonight. So I have here on our spreadsheet this basic bar that has your basic spread. So you have the unit. This typically tells you the name of the unit, how many models come with it, their quality. This is your generic roll for your morale test and your attacks and stuff like that. Your defense, how easy it is to shrug off damage, what kind of weapons you carry, what special rules you carry, and your points. Well, we're going to largely ignore points today. That's irrelevant.
Right.
We're going to largely ignore special rules. We're not going to find the correct rules today. We're going to put down ideas of what we think they should have. Equipment we can kind of work out, defense, quality. We can work all these numbers out, and then they'll get translated to points later.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about tonight. Let's pick a couple painted models we have. Let's do Zed. Skip a couple lines. You see my terrible typing skills here, guys. What is going on?
You're doing?
I'm having a weird tumor. I type on a company-issued laptop for work every day.
He's a lefty. He doesn't know how to type right.
I type on an iPad every day, and then I come home and sit down on his laptop, and all three of them have different keyboard sizes. And it throws me off every single day. Let's do Putty Patrollers. And because we've talked about it, let's do Mastodon Sentries. I really need to skip a line between. And that's all we're going to talk about today.
That's a lot.
This is going to go really quick.
Yeah.
It is. So let's start with Zed.
Okay.
Zed is pretty simple. How many models are coming in the unit?
One.
There's going to be one guy. Goldar is going to be a one-man unit. Putty Patrollers. I'm thinking 5.
Think 5?
I think 5 instead of 10. And here's why. A lot of the foot soldier miniatures we have, because we're also trying to cater this to what we own.
Yep.
Come in weird increments. So we have like the Tengas come in 12s.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Mastodon Sentry comes in 12s. I think the Putties, I think we have like 18 or 24. Actually, a lot of them are in intervals of 6. So we can make them in intervals of 6, because in this game, you can take the same entry up to 2 times and field them together. So that means if you have a Putty that's a 5-man unit, you could take a 5-man unit of Putties, a 5-man unit of Putties, put them together, make one 10-man unit, put it on the table together. It acts as one unit the whole game. Mm-hmm. So actually, since everything seems to come in quantities of 6, why don't we call it 6?
Okay.
Or do we want to call it like...
no, don't do it. Well, don't do it. You're overthinking it.
What I'm thinking is 6 or 4, because like the Mastodon Sentries come in... you have 12 models total. So we'll call that 6 too. That way, if you put them together, you have one unit of 12.
Yeah.
If you do them separately, you have 2 units of 6. So we've already established right there kind of what we want to have. So that's it. We're done with that. So we can move on to the next thing. So let's talk about some general ideas for special rules. Right now, Goldar should be a hero. He's a boss in the game. Here's a good game. He's often, he keeps coming back over and over again. So he should be a hero.
Yeah.
Zed should also be a hero.
Yeah.
That basically just means that, they can be put inside of a unit. That unit will protect them until they die. It doesn't really give them anything special. It doesn't even add to their points.
Yeah. I want Zed to also be either a wizard or...
I'm inclined to agree with you on that. Now, you can do wizard, and I think you can do... I don't know if you can go beyond level 2, but you can do level 1 and level 2. Zed should really be probably a level 2.
Yeah.
So we'll call him a wizard 2. Goldar's not really a wizard.
No, but is there anything that like there should be something...
There's a rule called Furious.
So he should either have Furious or he should have some kind of rallying.
Well, there's also the fly special rule. You Goldar flying because he's got wings.
He never flies, though. He loses his wings half the time.
Rallying. So I don't know of an ability off the top of my head that would fit rallying. But we'll put on a note some kind of rallying ability ? So then I can go look at the special rules later. Mm-hmm. And all the special rules are free, guys. They're broken up across all the army books. If you download the army books from the One Page Rules website, all the core rules of the game and the army books are all free. It's a free game in that regards. The problem is the points calculator just tells you the names of them all, so I have to go look through every single army book, which is really just basically another one page. But I have to go look through all of them to see what they do. So that's why I'm not just flashing them off the top of my head.
And don't let him sound like he doesn't just enjoy the bejesus out of doing this.
I don't enjoy flipping through the armory books, but I'm probably going to do, and it's going to take a lot of time up front. I'm probably going to go ahead and just copy paste all the special rules
onto a special rule page.
onto my own special rule page, print that out, and have it ready for me. But anyway, so Zed is definitely here, definitely a wizard. I mean, Zed should probably cause fear.
Yeah. I mean, he certainly did to my poor little, 9-year-old self.
So fear in this game is if you get involved in a combat, you get an additional D3 worth of score to see if you win the combat just by being a fear causer.
Yeah.
I mean, Zed should probably also be fearless. He's not going to run away from a fight easy.
Unless, of course, his space RV is there and he can hop in and then roll away from the...
We'll tentatively call him fearless. Now, all these things are going to have points attached to them.
Right.
And we'll do the points off camera, and when we do a follow-up episode on this, we'll kind of show you where the points calculate. Because I don't want to calculate it on camera, so I don't want to give away the information. It feels kind of wrong. So, Putty Patrollers, should they have any kind of special rule? Probably not. They're as basic as can be.
They are.
And do Mastodon,
pretty much the equivalent of throwing out, zombies.
And Mastodon sentries, you want them to have any kind of special rule? They're gonna have guns, but
well, there was an ability. I think I remember seeing something like. I honestly, I think like they should have like scout or something like that. As much as I'm probably going to find that very painful if I ever play against it, something that lets them be sneaky snakes like they bamfed in.
Okay, so I mean, you have a couple options for that. You have the scout ability, which lets them get a free move before the game starts.
Right.
You have the ambush ability, which lets them drop down onto the table during the game.
The Tangas are getting that.
That's a good point. And then there's also there was one other that kind of, and there's stealth. They'd be negatives to shoot them. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No.
So you think they should have scout?
I think they should have scout because the whole part about the Mastodon sentries was they were able to bamf in using Dracon's whatever that portal thing was that he had going on during the battle for the grid.
Okay.
And they were able to just drop in out of nowhere and wreck face and then bamf out.
Okay, that's fair. I was actually thinking under the equipment, or possibly even an upgrade, because there should be another column here that says upgrades. Because when you make your units, you have optional upgrades you can add to them. So Mastodon sentries should all come with their rifles standard, but they should have the option to add a guy who's got a grenade, like in the Battle for the Grid game, or even a dragon cannon. We don't have a model for a dragon cannon, but we know that that's a thing.
For Goldar, upgrade. Make his upgrade the ability to fly, because it's like Zed giving back his wings.
Fly, and we'll just make a note for here.
Because it's just like, the time that Goldar finally gave him back his wings.
So what I'm gonna take this points column. I'm gonna get rid of it completely because we don't need it for tonight. I'm just gonna call it upgrades.
Upgrades.
And we'll take fly. We'll take it off of there, and we'll put fly. And we'll say dragon cannon.
So something
like a 1-attack weapon that's deadly.
Yeah.
3 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
High AP. We want it to be able to cut through ranger armor.
Yeah. Yeah, it needs to be able to just wreck face, take names.
Yeah, so just a thought on that. And then grenades.
Maybe it'd be good if we had some grenades.
Maybe like 1 attack with blast.
Yeah.
Blast is an ability, guys, that every hit turns into the number of your blast value. So if you hit once on a blast 3 weapon, it'd be actually 3 hits. And then the Mastodon sentry should also have their rifles. We'll change the name of that later. How many attacks should their rifles have?
If you're getting 6 guys, honestly, it shouldn't be more than 1 attack each.
Well, I mean, if you could either do like 2, but basically no AP, or do 1 with some AP. I think it should have some AP, personally.
Yeah, I think it should be 1 with AP.
A1, that's 1 attack. It's going to be a ranged weapon, so we have to give it a range. 18, 24, something like that.
Yeah, as much as it pains me, I feel like 24 is probably...
I think 24 is probably a good, reasonable range for so we'll call it a 24-inch range gun. So they'd be able to shoot up to that far out. They'd have 1 attack per model. And honestly, I think it should have an AP value. I think it should be like AP 1, maybe.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, nothing broken. Nothing like it's like...
Well, again, you're gonna have points that are gonna adjust the value of this weapon that are gonna factor that. And playtesting is gonna be a thing. When we design this, we'll play it, and if we go, whoa, something was wrong here, we come back and we tweak.
And actually, if anybody out there decides to look at the stuff that we create and playtest it themselves, then we will be happy to field those as well. And you tell us how your game went, and we'll want to know about it.
And we want to know what ideas you guys have. So if you say, well, Chris, you and Bree, you guys forgot that Goldar should have this. Well, okay, well, let's talk about it.
I mean, I do think I would like there to at some point be a thing where you can take Goldar and Rito as a unit.
We could certainly look into that.
Because, I mean, and it's not effective at all. And they're
best bros.
They are best bros.
So these guys should have one life each. Yeah. Goldar, I mean, do we want to call this? See, here's where we're having a conversation. Do we want to only have toughness 6? Because tough 6 means it takes 6 hits to take them out. All of our rangers, we've decided, are tough 3.
Yes.
To give them some staying power. But a squad of rangers running into this Goldar, if they're full strength, they're going to take them off in one.
Yeah, they're going to rip through them.
So I was thinking we may even go up to tough 9 on like some of these monsters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, if it seems
Zed has to be.
And if it seems too strong, we just don't do that again.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking at first, when I was first thinking about this, I was thinking Cyclopsis is a toughness 12. But now I'm like, well, Cyclopsis is maybe a 15 or an 18. Zed is probably a tough 12.
Yeah. Because you're not going to rip through Zed in one turn.
So we'll give Zed will basically have 12 life in this game that you have to take down. So it's not going to be easy. Now, we gave the Rangers a lot of strong power weapons. That's the only reason we're even entertaining health values this high, is because we gave the Rangers very, very strong weaponry.
Okay, for the putty patrollers, they're... And it's so funny. Of course, I think of this all in terms of old Warhammer rules, because, that's the extent of my, at least, gaming rules.
Well, you did some free blades and whatnot, but anyway, I'll let you.
Yeah. So, but I'm feeling like putty patrollers need some of the wackiness that you felt whenever you put down like goblins, and I'm also thinking Skaven, where if you put down like basic clan rats or basic gobos, there was like a scatter ability or something like that.
So what we'll do is we'll check the actual Goblin and Ratman army lists and see if there's anything that might reflect that. We'll just put a note, some kind of wackiness that affects them.
Yeah, because
what we gave Bulk and Skull wackiness in the Ranger list.
Yes, we did.
They have a couple of rules. One of them is Uncanny Luck. One of them is Goofy Antics. Is what we renamed them to, but they're actual rules in the game with points values. But I'll look to see if I can find something that would affect Putty Patrollers. Now, for their regular attacks there, I almost think Putty should be furious. I think they should have like one attack each, and then when they charge, they'll get an extra attack because they're furious. But
yeah, because they've been riled up by Goldar, and they've been sent into.
So I think as basic as they can be. One attack, no AP.
Yeah,
these are your cheap guys.
Yeah, they are really.
I'd say you'd feel a ton of these, but we can only feel as many as we have models.
Wait, if you heard that briefly in the background behind Chris laughing, or Chris talking, that was our little girl dog running into the room, tripping over her own feet, and then catching herself and looking around to make sure that nobody noticed.
It's fine.
She's not bright. She's real pretty, but she's not bright.
So quality and defense on putties. 5'5", 6'6".
I'm inclined to say 6'6", but that's
die in droves.
But that does so maybe go 5'5".
We could even go 5'6".
Yeah.
They have basically no defense, but they'll hit you on 5s.
Because their weak spot is in the middle of their chest.
No, that's the Z putties, and that is actually a good defensive position.
Yes.
Z putties should have higher defense. Look.
Are you going?
I'm not going to be that guy who's that guy who takes like the creepy pictures of himself with swords in the background and says he's cool. I'm not going to say I'm.
You do that with your board games.
I do.
That's your flex.
I'm not going to say I'm a martial artist, because I'm definitely not. I've been in enough fights as a kid. As a kid, I had my fair share of schoolyard scraps to tell you it's not actually easy to hit somebody square in the chest.
No.
It's actually not an easy place to hit, just dead center on the chest. It's possible. It's not actually the easiest place because your arms are usually there and the body's moving. Anyway, I think Zed putties are supposed to be better than Rita putties anyway.
They will be.
So this is a garbage stat line, and this is going to make them dirt freaking cheap.
Yes.
This is going to be
Which
like,
they should be.
like, why would I take a unit of putty patrollers? Well, because in Age of Fantasy, it's alternating activation. We only have 4 turns to play. I activate a unit, you activate a unit. I activate a unit, you activate a unit. So the player with more activations is going to have more tactical flexibility on the tabletop because they can burn crap activations that the other person can't afford to burn as easily. So you look at these stats and you go, Chris, there's going to be a lot better stats on the table. Why would I take these putties? Because they're going to be so cheap. You're basically buying the activation, and you're basically buying the ability to have models that can rush an objective.
Yep.
That's all you're doing. So these guys would probably be a 5-6. The Z putties would be like a 4-5. Maybe the super putties will be a 5-5.
There you go.
Or maybe like 5-5 with regeneration, because that's what they were doing in the episode they previewed in. So if these guys are 5-6, and there is kind of a guideline that kind of tells you what a stat line should be. And they refer to like 4s as kind of like well-trained or veteran guys.
So
4 quality 4 Mastodon sentries makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm thinking even defense 4 makes sense because they do have the armor plus the tactical gear. And so I'm thinking 4-4 for these guys. So this is going to mean that when they shoot you or fight you in melee, they're going to be hitting on 4, 5s, or 6s. This means when you attack them, they're going to be saving or stopping the damage coming through on a 4, 5, or a 6.
Yep.
So they're going to cost... And you'll see when we come back later, they're going to cost a whole lot more than these putties do. And actually, because this game requires it, let's give them a melee attack as well. We'll give it a name. I mean, like, it doesn't need a name right now, but like,
punch in the face,
clay fists or whatever.
Clay fists.
And then this one might be like, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe these guys don't have it at all, but they'll say they have a tactical knife because they're kind of like soldiers. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter what it's called. What matters is the stats that are attached to it. We'll change these names anyway. So let's get to Zed and Goldar, because that's the big thing. So I'm already thinking that 12 and 9 may be too much if we don't manipulate this, because we could just call Zed a defense 2, which means he shrugs off damage on a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Defense 2 plus tough 12 may be over the top.
Yeah.
So do we want to call Zed a 3? Or call him a 2 and maybe cut this down a little bit?
No, let's make him a 3, because he's still a big old naked dude. Like, he's got all the muscles.
But he's Zed.
Yeah, but at defense 3,
okay,
you're still having to...
What about Goldar?
Actually, Goldar should be a 2.
And Goldar should be a 2.
Yeah. Because Zed's quality is going to be higher than Goldar's. It just...
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking, because quality 2 starts to get broken. And it kind of explicitly says in the points calculator, you probably want to avoid quality 2.
Really? So
even though
3-3?
Even though it's technically legal, even though you could technically come up with points with it, and there are people out there who would say, well, there's points, so it's balanced. That's not even remotely true.
Yeah.
2 may be too much. I'm thinking 3-3. He'd actually have Ranger stats at 3-3.
Which is good.
At 3-2, he'd have stronger than Ranger stats.
I mean, part of me thinks at 3-2 he should have stronger than the average Power Ranger.
Well, I think 3-3-12 is probably on the nose. I think if Goldar's going to be a 2, his tough needs to probably drop to 6. Tough seems to be distributed in intervals of 3 in this game. So I'm thinking we go to tough 6 on Goldar.
I am worried that he is going to die too quickly that way.
He might, but again, this is where we test it and we find out.
Because we did him with tough 6. And the only reason I think he held his ground as long as he did is because we were playing it wrong.
We played quite a few rules wrong on that game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, 6 is a tough number to get through, and defense 2 is a big number. I think we try it this way, and if we don't like it, we change it. I mean, that's what it comes down to. We're not going to finish this army list and have it be perfect the day we finish it.
Yes, it is. Oh, okay. Perfection out the door.
So what's Goldar's quality? See, he's a boss level hero. I think he's got to be quality 3.
You agree?
But that puts his quality better than Zed. So what's the difference between him and Zed? Well, Zed will have the fear, he'll have the fearless, he'll have the higher life, and he'll have the wizard. He'll have all those things attached to him. So I'm thinking we got to call him a 3 and see what that does. And then as far as attacks go, I mean, we know Goldar has an I-beam attack. We've seen him use it on the show.
I always forget about his I-beam attack.
So he's got his sword.
Yeah.
And he's got his I-beams.
And he has his ability to punch you in the face with them gold-plated gauntlets.
So I'm thinking his I-beams, I'm thinking some short range, maybe like 12 inches.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like 2 attacks, because he's got 2 eyes, right?
I mean, you got 2 eyes.
Do we want to give it that an AP value, or do we want to give it a blast value? Because when it hits, it kind of explodes.
Well, I thought a blast. With everything,
well, again, he's a boss level monster.
Wait. When anything hits in Power Rangers, it explodes.
You put them on the table, those explosions fall behind them. It's actually a special rule. You have to drop.
Yeah, you little poppers.
I'm actually thinking the I-beams still deserve an AP value.
You think?
I think so, and I think even Blast 3.
You're just making Goldar kind of a boss right now.
Well, he's supposed to be a boss. That's the point. He should be stronger than a regular monster we put down.
Are you saying that he should be stronger than before?
Crotoni Entertainment is shutting down the channel now. We won't be back with a future video. It's not. Just type in stronger than before, rule 34 in the internet.
No, don't do that.
All right, and now Zed.
So
we got a sword. We got a sword. How vicious is Goldar with his sword?
I want to know, are we basing this on television Goldar, or are we basing this on comic book Goldar?
A little of both, and let's also factor in that I believe we gave Jason 4 attacks at AP2 with the power sword. I'm thinking 6 attacks at AP2.
Yeah, he's got to be able to hold his own against Jason.
Because Goldar was supposed to be even scarier. I mean, Jason was one of the very few Rangers who could go one-on-one with Goldar.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean...
And somewhat survive.
And let's be honest, Jason is, a better Power Ranger than Tommy ever was.
Wow, he had to. Everybody, by the way, who plays the, every time Chris insults
I actually gave Tommy decent rules for the game because I was trying to be fair.
Every time Chris insults Tommy, take a drink.
You're all dead. You're all dead of alcohol poisoning if you're playing that game. So we'll call it this, and we'll go from there. Zed should be scary because here's the trade-off in my mind. We know we gave the Rangers high AP melee weapons, so we know that this Defense 3 is not going to get Zed far against a full squad of Rangers.
No, but he's got pew-pews.
So I'm thinking Zed's staff gets deadly.
Yeah.
Deadly 3.
Oof, yeah.
I was going to say deadly 6, but all the Rangers are life 3, so it doesn't matter. Mm-mm. We could make it deadly 24, and it wouldn't make a difference, because once you exceed a model's tough value, the damage doesn't roll over.
Right.
So, I mean, we could call it deadly 100, and it wouldn't make a difference, except when the Megazord's in play.
Right.
So I'm thinking deadly 3, definitely.
Yeah.
Because Zed's got his staff. It's supposed to be pretty scary. How many attacks are we giving Zed?
4.
I think 4, so he can pretty much wipe out a Ranger squad himself with a lucky round?
Yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah. I mean, he's Zed.
What's his AP value?
AP. If it goes up, it's great. Yeah, so AP 3?
So AP 3 means that a Ranger is going to be only rolling a 6 to save against him. Do you want Rangers to be rolling a 6 or die if Zed hits them, or do you want Rangers to be rolling a 5 or die if Zed hits them?
Okay, do an AP2 then.
So we'll call it AP2, and if it seems too small, we'll change it. Mm-hmm. All right, so we've got some ideas right here on how we want to design our first couple of units for our bad guy list. And that's it. That's what we're doing when we're designing these lists. And this is something that, if you join the One Page Rules Patreon, it's $10 a month. You'll get the points calculator. I'm pretty sure that if you join the Patreon for the $10 value, you can download the points calculator and then quit the Patreon after only paying $10. Any updates they make, obviously, you won't be getting at that point. And I'm not necessarily endorsing that because it's only $10 a month for a great game. Alternatively, send in your ideas to us. Tell us what you think. As far as kind of the stats we've got here, are you looking at Goldar and going, well, even if you don't know wargaming, well, Goldar should be able to do something like this. Well, we can see if there's a rule that fits that. Yep. If you're thinking,
and by that, Chris means he will look and see if there's a rule that he can do that.
It's true. Like, I'm still weary about this Zed at tough 12 thing. I just feel like that's over the top. But again, we won't know until we actually play it.
Lord Zed.
I understand that, but there's a game balancing you have to factor in as well.
Well, but there's also the aspect of how often did the Rangers actually face Zed on the battlefield?
I mean, the Omegas did, and they kicked his butt.
Well, the Omegas did, but the original MMPR...
Never. It never happened.
Yeah. So, if you're putting Zed out on the table, it's always the mentality of this game is dire.
Well, he's gonna cost a lot of points, too. Because that every point of toughness you go up drastically increases your point value. So, this maybe put him over out of reach just right there, and we'll have to find out.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've got a basic idea. What I'll do is, if we get some feedback to this video, or maybe even if we don't, I will go through and I'll get the points values. I'll find some rules. We'll come back and we'll revisit this. and we'll say, hey, this is what the points came out to. This is what we kind of settled on. Let us know what you think. Hopefully, you guys are excited to try this yourself. Check out our Age of the Grid battle report that we did. Gives you an idea of playing the skirmish version of the game. We're also designing these rules to be usable in an army version of the game, so you can literally put down, your Zed and your Goldar and a couple of monsters and all your putties and all your Mastodon troopers and all your Quandrons and all the stuff you own for this game. You put on one big table, fighting off against multiple Ranger teams at one time, and you have just this crazy game. That's kind of what we're designing here. We're putting together based off somebody else's design. Yeah. I mean, we're doing some design to it, but we're not doing the hard work. That's been done by One Page Rules. Check out One Page Rules. I think it's onepagerules.com. Their rules are free. Check out Age of the Grid. We did a battle report. Like and subscribe for more content. Hit the bell button for notifications, and we will see you next time.
Bye!